Welcome to this edition of Sarder TV. I'm Tracy Fitzpatrick. Our studio guest is Joe Ferrara, co-founder and CEO of Resonance, an investment platform for emerging fashion designers. In addition, he's an adjunct professor at NYU Stern School of Business and sits on several apparel and investment boards. Joe, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about the business of fashion.
Welcome. Great to be here. Happy to be your guest.
So let's get started. How has your background helped you prepare to be CEO of your current company, Resonance?
I've always been a CEO. So, once a CEO.
You were born a CEO?
I was born a
Good
CEO.
Good for you, yeah.
Actually, CEO, I figured I wanted to be a CEO when I was age 9. And I started at the time, so what was I in, 5th grade? I started at the time doing magic shows in elementary school. And I said, this is my business. And I had a business. I was actually doing magic shows after school, and I was making money. Now, of course, I was reinvesting all the money back into the business because I'd, receive $20 for a magic show, and then I'd, buy a new trick, and it would enhance the business as I went on. From that point on, I always said, I am going to run and own my own company. And I went from there to a newspaper route, to running a leaf raking service, to in the summertime and in the wintertime, snow shoveling. I had my routes. And so from a very young age, it was always, somehow, running your own business and building a business from there years later.
So tell us, how important were role models to your career trajectory?
The role model that stands out, unfortunately, I lost them, at a young age, my father. My father was a physician, a neonatologist, and he was also a statistician. So he had his PhD in statistics. And the man brought to medicine data-driven outcomes. And it really came, together for me when the birth of my first child in the hospital, that the work that he had done had such a lasting impact. He had proven that, outcomes by introducing oxygen at the newborn state increased healthy outcomes for infants by significant percentages. And to this day, all the protocols that have been adopted for medicine to have healthy babies was driven by taking data. Now, he applied it towards life-saving, application, but it impressed upon me forever where, how do we learn, how do we take data, how do we take observation and testing and measurement to run businesses better? And so as a role model, thank you, Dad, for having a lasting impact on me.
Do you think fashion reflects reality, or does it help provide some sort of escapism for us, especially during turbulent times that we're going through right now?
I'd like to think it's a reflection. It's fashion is a tool for social expression. And, at times we are looking to escape. At times we are looking to present ourselves a certain way, and fashion's a tool to do that. So for those forever caught in an escapism downward cycle, fashion's your friend. For those who are always looking to express, joy, fashion's your friend. So I think as a social expression, a tool for social expression, fashion is so culturally embedded and inseparable from who we are as people.
So you've shaken things up a lot in the fashion industry with your one-stop fashion and design platform, Resonance. What makes it unique, and what inspired you to launch this visionary business model at this particular time?
So I owned a company. It was a very large private label company. We had 2,000 employees. We were the largest high-end private label manufacturer in the Western Hemisphere. At its peak. When we sold that business, a lot was happening with China. A lot was happening with margins, and this onslaught of cheap and deep replacing what was once a bunch of beautiful fashion products began to take hold. We had a successful exit, and since then spent years investing as an angel investor, and couldn't get away from fashion. So once again, I found myself investing in brands, and investing in technology, and investing in companies as well within the fashion space. And what we saw this, this change starting to take place with the breakdown of barriers, gaining market access directly to customers, became very, very powerful towards the late 2000s. And by 2010, 2012, after the crisis, this unleashed entrepreneurial spirit, in fashion took hold. New brands coming out of the woodwork. It was so exciting for me as an investor. Problem was that a lot of these new brands crippled, really struggling to run the basics. I have a great idea. How do I, realize that idea in product form and in running a commerce business? And so really the inspiration was a few successes that we had investing in brands that did very, very well. One I like to talk about is an underwear brand that 6 years ago was not known. Now it's a great menswear brand that came out of the woodwork, Tommy John. Tommy John's a menswear brand that we invested in, and we ran a very classic application of back of house sourcing and supply chain and front of house customer acquisition, and actually running the business, helping build that business, the commerce portion of their business, direct to consumer, focusing on those two aspects of the business. We realized that every business has those same needs. Every business with an idea is looking to build a commerce front-end platform connecting to customer and needs to have the back-end fulfillment, logistics, and supply chain in order to support an enduring business. And that was really, early impetus to say, hey, we can do this as a class. And there's tremendous need out there for brands to run on platforms so that they can overcome all the challenges that they have and compete and do something magical and special and build value. And what was missing was a platform, and that's how Resonance was born.
You have an interesting story about the inspiration for the name Resonance. Tell us about that.
So first, I have to admit, I'm an audiophile. I love music. I love sound. Resonance it's a little bit geeky. It is a concept that takes a frequency at a specific frequency of sound, and it is amplified exponentially when in proximity to other objects that vibrate next to that object. And so it's this concept of amplification. And so how do we take an entrepreneur, a fashion designer, a creator, and amplify what they have to say? And Resonance is the platform that does that.
So your business mantra is about producing what you love, quality over quantity. How are you going to be able to sustain this model if you aren't able to design and produce larger quantities in conjunction with the smaller ones like you embrace with this platform?
This is such a big subject because we've been taught in business that economies of scale need to be achieved in order to have efficiency. And economies of scale really drive towards unit cost economics, right? So how do I make these pants for as low cost as possible? Well, when we think of the pants, we think of the single unit of pants, or we think of just making one of a million. And in order for this pant to be at the lowest possible cost in terms of make, we need to make 1 million of them, right? So that's called a long run business. And long run business has costs associated with it that go far beyond the unit economics, because guess what? I don't know how many of these pants I'm going to sell. Maybe the demand for these pants is only 500,000. Why did I make 1 million? So we're going to move another 500,000 pants into a landfill, right? There's real societal cost. There's also a real cost in producing, because I made what I didn't need. Or I'm going to make them in a size range, and the size range is going to be completely wrong, right? Because we thought we were going to sell size 36 and size 38 and size 34 and 32, but we didn't, because surprise, we're selling size 28 and 30 because it's a perfect skinny person pant, because we didn't know any better.
Does data analytics help you with all that now?
Absolutely. So this is where you want to apply data. You want to apply data by saying, where are things trending? Where are things selling? Let's not just look at the unit cost of an item. Let's look at it in aggregate. Let's look at whether or not we can make few units that are closely aligned to demand, rather than an oversupply where we've missed the mark and we either have too much of what doesn't sell or not enough of what does sell. In either case, we're always wrong with inventory. And so the real cost of making many is not understood, because everyone is looking at a unit cost sheet. And we want to shift the sight to not the unit cost sheet, but actually the making of a single unit. Because if you can make profitably a single unit, you're eliminating so many costs from the system. And so the focus is, how do we drive the style economics, not the unit economics? And I'm throwing a lot of different things out there, but style economics say, how many of these pants am I going to sell? And how much does it take a designer to create this pant? How many hands need to touch this product before it is actually on the shelves ready for sale? And all those costs need to be recovered, and they get recovered in long run business. how do we build a system that actually lowers those high touch costs so that the cost of creating a style is low?
And that's what Resonance is doing.
That's what Resonance is doing. We are driving down the cost of creation to as close to zero as we can. Because if we can do that, we can afford to make 10 of these pants and be profitable. We can afford to make 100 of these pants or 1,000 of these pants. But once we're locked into high cost of creating a style, we're locked into making 100,000 pants. You know, Zara, if you look at Zara, every single style that they make, they have 11,000 styles that they make at any one point in time. Per year, they're making 900 million individual garments and accessories. They sell, on average, 75,000 units of a style. That means that they're not making 10, they're not making 100, they're not making 1,000, they're always making 75,000. And some of their units, their basics are in the millions, and some of their not so basics are in the many thousands, but they don't make hundreds of anything. So if you think of those, you know, dominant economic drivers of having this high style cost overhead that needs to be amortized over individual styles, it makes it almost impossible for a small designer to thrive, right? Because they're faced with these daunting economics of creating styles, of creation, even though they possess the magic to create. And so how do we deliver resources to the marketplace that allows, you know, the digital idea that's in the mind of a designer to be expressed in a style that moves to market where we don't have to make 1 million units.
And you've simplified all of this, which is part of what Resonance is doing, correct?
We flattened it.
You flattened it.
And so a designer can move to clicks so that they can create what's in their mind in physical form at the lowest possible cost per style. Which means, to answer that question that you had before.
What was the question?
The question was, how do we make few versus many, and how do those live together? Once you drive the cost of creating a style down, you don't need to make many. And once you don't need to make many, we can now make more people happy.
Now I understand exactly what you just said. That's perfect. So you say that we are in a war for the soul of the fashion industry. What do you mean by that? And can you share a case study of this?
Yeah, so, you know, a little dramatic, but not really. If you are a designer, if you are a creator, you want to express yourself through the products that you create. The market is so stacked against that, from that happening, that is the soul-crushing moment of a designer's existence. Perfect case study, JCRT. Jeffrey Costello, Robert Tagliatella, they're incredibly talented designers. Jeffrey is a tailor, Robert is a graphic designer, and they are prolific with their creations. They love plaid. They wanted to create plaid. The way the market is set up, the way the resources are set up, plaid is what's called a yarn dye, and creating and developing a plaid takes somewhere around 6 months before you see a sample of your design. Now, Robert creates plaids every 6 minutes. So 6 minutes, 6 months, really incongruous. And so he's able to create hundreds of plaids at a time, but only able to produce 6 every 6 months. So that's soul crushing. That takes a designer's creativity and their output and forces them not to express themselves. It's the equivalent of a gag order for a designer's mind. And so the case study is, how do we unleash technology? And the technology that we chose is digital printing. Digital printing is an incredible technology. Digital printing allows a designer's thoughts and ideas to be expressed on fabric at the highest level. And to do so making a yard at a time. You're not locked into making thousands. There are no loom setup fees. It's all digital. We unleashed this technology to Robert, and Robert has now created close to 400 plaids. Now, if you run 12 plaids...
In what time frame was that?
6 months. So what previously would be 6 is now 400. That's an 80x increase in his output. What Robert now does is he creates plaids, by the week, and he doesn't even go to swatch anymore. He says, wait a minute, let me see that in a shirt, right? Because I can make one because I'm just clicking my way through creating product. And so when we look at the technology that we built, it literally is saying it's arming the creator-driven brand with capability to express themselves through product creation with clicks, without picking up an account executive saying, this is the yellow I want, and can you please submit a swatch, and may I approve it, and let me see the lab dip. Our industry is so siloed with processes that are so expensive, to that point earlier about the cost of creation being so high. A lot of it is legacy stuff that can be, reimagined with technology, and that's what we've done at Resonance. We've enabled a designer like Robert, such as Robert, to create with clicks so that he can see new creations in days, which is so awesome. Actually, the first time he received his designs, he started to cry. And observing that could only bring tears to an observer's eye.
So do companies now have to be totally data-driven like an Amazon in order to be successful? What are your thoughts on that?
Let's go back to my dad saving lives for infants, being data-driven. It depends on how you apply data. So my answer is, yes, you need to be data-driven. Where do you want that data to be applied? Are you going to drive data to these are the designs that you need to create in order to be successful? So are we going to be data-driven about design and creativity? Our answer is no. Are we going to be data-driven about the fit that is doing well, the size range that is doing well? Are we going to be data-driven about time of day when people want to connect? Are we going to be data-driven about the way to optimize your designs through a system so that requests can be made and you can get maximum number of designs that are within a range of what you wanted to produce? Yes. So we've unleashed on our platform machine learning, unsupervised machine learning that is crunching. We've crunched over 3 million data points over the past 4 months. And that data expresses itself in terms of this is what's selling by size. So you know what? Let's not make so many larges. We need to make more 2X and 3X because they are selling well, especially in the large format plaid. That's good data. That's data that creators like to see because it informs them. Let's look at how we have customer engagement, where particular styles excited customers and commentary. Let's take that data and make it available to creators because that data helps them make better decisions. But let's not say, you know what, you're going to create a red plaid with just enough green in it, and we're not going to have data replace what a designer does. We want that discontinuity preserved. And design is about creating special surprises for all of us to be delighted, and we don't want to crush that with data.
Explain the concept and philosophy of full stack fashion that Resonance embraces. What is that all about?
So, to reimagine the way a system operates, you gotta have a laboratory, and a laboratory means that we have everything that is involved in design in one place, and full stack is that one place. And so under one roof we have design, we have commerce, we have customer acquisition, we have manufacturing, we have pattern development, style development, everything under one roof as finance, shipping and fulfillment, customer service. So if you think of every aspect of running an industry, not just a business, under one roof, that's what we've done. Now, a lot of companies would say, why would you want to have all vertical operations under one roof? That's very difficult to do because you might only be good at one thing, not everything. So this actually defies, every lesson about focus, but not really, because what we're talking about is focusing on system-wide optimization, because it might very well be that design and development is affected by what you're selling and the cadence of selling. And if you don't have it under one roof, it becomes siloed information that is disconnected. Plus the fact we're unable to optimize because we can't affect change. If we had third-party factories manufacturing our product, they would say, we don't take purchase orders that way. We only take orders on Wednesday, not continuous, order taking. Our lead times are. And so changing the behavior of anything under that one roof is very, very difficult if it's not under one roof.
Your organization embraces sustainability, but you say it's not a business strategy. What do you mean by that?
So, sustainability is a journey. And it's a journey for marking where we are now and where were we before and where are we going. So if we consume less water over time and we're able to demonstrate that, we've moved forward, we've made progress on that journey towards a sustainable, business activity. Now, some businesses have tagged their entire business on being sustainable companies. We're not saying that we are a sustainable company and sustainability is our strategy. We are saying it's a requirement to be in business. And so we're on that journey, we're serious about it, we will document it, and we're using some of the greenest technology with no waste, low water consumption, and digital technologies to achieve sustainability. But it's not what we are doing as a business strategy. It's what we're doing and every good corporate citizen should do.
How do you decide which designers to partner with?
The designers, first of all, you have to have talent, right? Now, we're not the arbiters of talent. We want you to demonstrate that you can create and make things. And, that's done through, do you have product, right? And number one, and that's observational. Number two, are you connecting to customers? Do people care that you can create things? And do you evoke a response from a group, a tribe of people that thinks your creativity and the connection you have to them is important? So for us, the designers that we want to bring on platform, you are creator driven, meaning you can make things and you can design things, and you have people that agree with you. And people, we like to talk in terms of, tens, right? So do you have 1,000 followers? Do you have 1,000 humans on this planet that think your product is amazing? And do you have 10,000? And if you have somewhere between 1,000 and 10,000 followers, customers that love your product, we can find the other 90,000 so you can get to 100,000 customers. So we're looking for demonstrated ability to create and energy in the marketplace through customers who think you're awesome. And that's what we care about, because we can make you even more awesome.
Now, what is the Kit and how does it fall under the Resonance umbrella?
Oh, Kit, so Kit is a great brand. This is Daniel Vosovic. Daniel was on Project Runway and super talented, had that following that we talked about. He still gets emails from Ukraine and his fans all over the world who say, you should have won that last show. And so, Daniel is one of the brands in which we invested. And Daniel is on the platform, and the Kit is his concept. Merchandising products together that go with any one of the pieces that he creates will go with any one of the other pieces that he creates. And that's this notion of a kit. So the date kit, the wedding kit, the dinner kit, the work kit. We think it's cool, but more importantly, a lot of his followers thinks it's a great product. So he has lots of customers, and those customers are buying his product that he creates on the platform.
So with your platform, there's no such thing as the seasons anymore. The fall season, the winter season, as far as fashion, yours is kind of on-demand fashion.
You know what? The seasons are broken. I mean, the seasons are a convention of the manufacturing cycle, and then it was adopted by the retail cycle. And it took so long to make things that let's just chop the year into 4 parts, 2 main parts, and then it was 4 parts, and then how do we accelerate it to some subparts? Those became seasons. That's a convention of an old, broken system. Right now, from what I can see, designers create when they create, and it's continuous. And if they want to express themselves on a Monday at 12 o'clock because of a new tweet that went out, and they want to respond with a product that they want to get out to the marketplace, let them, because that's the calendar of creation. That should be the calendar of commerce that follows creation. And so we don't believe in the fashion calendar at all. It's sort of like, don't send out Christmas cards, send out Valentine's cards, because Christmas is so crowded with cards, and how many Valentine cards do you get? So pick a holiday, pick another reason. You have 365 days. Choose one of those days to celebrate fashion and commerce, and forget the seasons, because it's an old, broken vestige of before.
How do you grow a brand in the marketplace?
So the essential ingredient for a brand is you have a connection to customers. If you don't have a connection, if you don't have proven energy in the marketplace, which we like to measure by number of customers, you don't really have anything to grow. So when we talk about resonance being amplification of frequency, if you have 1,000 customers, we need to understand those first 1,000 customers. Who are they? Where are they? Why do they love you? And when we understand that, we ask, how do we go get 9,000 more? And literally, building a brand today is not about gaining distribution necessarily. It is not channel focused anymore. It is about connecting directly to customers and getting more of them, finding your people, finding your tribe, and amplifying that connection to them. So building a brand today is a grab of customers, and we like to think in terms of, your first 1,000 customers proves that you have relevancy. Your first 10,000 customers, you really have relevancy. Let's go find, and we love that zone of building a brand is defined by going from 10,000 customers to 100,000 customers that you are connecting to directly. And then we can talk about overlaying other channel and distribution options on top of that. But if you don't have that direct connection to customer and understand how they are responding to the product that you're creating and how they're responding to the messaging that you're delivering, you can't build a brand in today's marketplace.
What designers have been launched through the Resonance platform?
Great case studies are we have a brand called Tucker, The Kit, Daniel Vasovic, JCRT, which is the best plaid shirt out there. We have 3 other brands that are being launched right now. I can't name their names, but they are launching between March, which is now, and May. There are 7 other brands that we are launching and are in early stage launch, and 1 major retail collaboration. So in 2018, there will be 12 brands on platform. We've shipped so far over 40,000 units to customers, and across those brands, we will be at 300,000 units by the end of this year.
What are the key value propositions for your brands?
Value is a great word. It is, are you delivering value? Are you delivering value in your product? And it is not about being the lowest cost provider. It's about delivering very high design content and doing so in a sustainable way where you're delivering product in a timely fashion. You're not waiting for it forever. And you're also delivering lots of variety. There's nothing worse than, and we talked about this, that seasonal cadence means I've got to wait for something new. You should have something new as often as, the creator can think of something new. And so, value for us is well-made, elevated product in fabrics that are beautiful, with great color. They perform well as products. And, we don't want clothes that are falling apart, and we don't want clothes that are cheap. I don't know how to make cheap. So, that can't be part of Resonance platform. But at the same time, you have to deliver value. So just because something is well made, maybe it's, made too well for the product you're delivering. Do we really need t-shirts that are made, to the highest quality? I mean, I would tend to think yes, but, there's a consideration of value that if you're going to make a $50 t-shirt, it is somehow different than a $9.95 t-shirt, and it should be expressed in the fabric that's used and in the design, content that's being delivered in that t-shirt.
So how often do you change a brand message, and can you give an example of a successful branding campaign?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, you change your message as often as the creator, wants to say something new. And for most of our brands, they're delivering some message 3 to 5 times a week. The methods of delivery are on social. Instagram is really important. We like to, have them publish not the favorite dessert of the week, but sort of inspiration that they have and how they're thinking and the products, how it affected the creation of their product. What you don't want to do is you don't want to go off message. And so a brand is still about a promise, right? So if we have one of our brands, Tucker. Gabby is the designer, and she believes, her spirit, her inspiration is, free-spirited, sort of bohemian, cool, urban product. You never want to go off message, with that as inspiration. But how often is she delivering messages? Well, she's doing a, Rolling Stones video, and then switching over to a BMX video of young girls being free-spirited in the country, riding, dirt bikes, wearing beautiful printed blouses. 2 very different campaigns. They both did very, very well. I'm not quite sure how I would describe the inspiration of them, but they connected to her customer of this free-spirited, beautiful flowing silk product and celebrating bohemian prints. And so the message happens as often as the designer wants to communicate. The promise and the movement from being off message is something that you don't want to do. You want to stay on message with what your brand means and how you connect to your customer.
Okay, big brand out there, Zara. What are your thoughts on this inexpensive fast fashion behemoth, and do other brands have to become more like a Zara in order to survive? And next part of the question, do you think people are looking in the rearview mirror at a platform like Resonance in order to create this type of product?
It's a great question. Look, Zara, I have tremendous respect for Zara. As someone who has built a career on manufacturing and logistics, they have built an incredible machine. And the way they've deployed that machine is, to have incredible product diversity that is in the business of copying that which creators design. So while I have tremendous respect for the capability, the deployment, I think, is, kind of short of theft. And so, what we like to think of is, Resonance is the Zara for the creator-driven brand. And our vision of the world is that we want you to be as powerful as Zara is operationally, but for your business, for your creations, for the size of business that you have. And so, if you can develop product and execute as can Zara operationally, and you have in your pocket the power of creation, Zara can't catch you. I hope we're in Zara's rearview mirror, and I think we are. Now, it's a little bit arrogant because Zara is now $23 billion in sales. They make 900 million clothes per year. But you know what? Smaller companies have started out in garages and have become the behemoths of tomorrow. So, we shall be just that. But we're lifting up. We're not on the backs and shoulders of creators, but we are lifting them up.
Are other companies that are jumping on the fast fashion bandwagon using your business model in order to streamline and speed up the design process? Who are your competitors?
It's a great question. When anyone says, I will really attack a business student if they say I have no competition, because we all have competition. I want to say, we have laid out that, Amazon and Zara, they are our competition because they are the competition for creator-driven brands. And the reason why their competition is, Amazon, through data-driven commoditization of all products, crushes design. Amazon has successfully, I love doing, actually, things have changed with Amazon in the past, month. I used to every day check black dress. And I would see anywhere from 400,000 plus responses, options from Amazon to over 1 million. Now they've changed it to say more than 50,000. So I don't know if they heard my last criticism, but it doesn't say that there are millions of options, just more than 50,000 options for black dress. So Amazon, through the commoditization of product, crushes design. And they are our competition. They're our competition for the community that we want to support, which is the creator-driven community. Zara, they're absolutely our competition because they're stealing the designs of those that we support. And so a small designer doesn't have a chance against Zara without a platform such as ours. Right now, those are the two main sources of competition.
So when you say stealing the ideas, they copy your designers' things from the platform but tweak them slightly so it's not an exact copy?
Look, who has unique product? One could argue that everything is derived from, other products that have already been published. But, I have to say, if you look at, Zara's lineup, they're direct copies of what other designers do. And Forever 21 and, there's a lot of copying in fast fashion marketplace that is taking a facsimile of what others produce and moving it out to market at at incredible speed at incredible price. That's copying. And so how do you beat a copier? You got to go faster, and you got to be better
without compromising the quality, which is what you're.
You got to be better, faster, and at a higher quality level, and true to the creation that was your idea. And so Zara will copy you if you make something popular in 4 weeks. So you've got 4 weeks of selling to connect to your customers.
Such pressure, oh my goodness.
It is a lot of pressure, but that's okay. If you've got a platform behind you, 4 weeks is great because you do that 13 times a year and you're constantly ahead with newness. And Zara will, they'll get down to 3 weeks, in which case you'll need to, have newness 15 times a year. But creators can do that. So
you're also a widely popular professor at NYU. And so tell us about the programs that you've developed in conjunction with the Council of Fashion Designers of America. And does being around young people all the time kind of let you see what's going to be the next disruptor in fashion?
It's a great question. So I started teaching at NYU 6 years ago. I love teaching. There's no question. And what we learn, the best teachers are the best students. And so, I learn a tremendous amount from teaching. I started in the business school 6 years ago with the CFDA. CFDA has 500 designers. The designers need help, and where they need help is in crafting business plans. And so students need live case studies. And so, let's put the need for live case studies together with the need for business insight and planning. And what was born was, how do we have live case studies at the business school that center on fashion entrepreneurs? And so we've run over 150 projects right now in my classes. Started out in the undergraduate school, now I'm in the MBA program. And we have live case studies of real designers with real design problems and challenges in their business. And the students get to work on these case studies, developing business plans for designers that are just awesome. And so I get to sit back and look at the brilliant work that they do, and it does inspire, and it does begin to drive the next wave of disruption. How does disruption take place? There's no question that a brand today needs to be digital first. And if you go on campus and anyone talks about not connecting directly to me, they don't know what you're talking about. So this notion of shelf space and running at department store, SKUs is foreign to the new breed of young customers. And so they bring that energy, day one to the business plan on what is your digital strategy? How are you connecting? How are you meaningful to a tribe? The notion and concept of microsegmentation is alive and well on campus, and having designers and CFDA members learn about microsegmentation and fluidly running these concepts is really kind of exciting.
How do you stay one step ahead and relevant with the constantly evolving business of fast fashion, and who's your competition as far as that is concerned?
The competition is anyone who is any brand right now that is nimble. So we think of competition in two ways. Number one, there's competition for resonance platform, which we talked about, as being, Amazon and Zara are the two biggest forces that we see in the marketplace. When we think of, competition, we also think of competition for our brands. We want our brands to be more powerful. In the collective, we want resonance brands to kick everybody's ass. And the way they are able to do that is I produce more product, I produce better product, and I connect better to my customers than anyone else. And so we want them to have that power. And how do we stay ahead? We have our brands stay ahead by giving them tools to make them more powerful. And we also encourage them to test their ideas. Don't be afraid to test your ideas, because the magic they possess, the magic of creation that they possess, is what makes their businesses so awesome. And sometimes they feel, oh, I shouldn't try that, I'm afraid to try that, or I can't, it's too expensive. And so we rip down those walls and say, test, try, experiment, and see what works. And spread that magic, because that's what you have. And so stay ahead of the competition by focusing on where you are strong. And for a creator, they are strong in design, and they should not be afraid to create and deliver newness to the marketplace as frequently as they can conceive of it.
What is designer-less fashion, and will it become the new normal in the industry?
I was in China a month ago, and we went through a series of these AI presentations, and I have to say it was sad. One of the presentations that stood out was a demonstration of a series of prints that could be knocked off by machines and do so just outside of copyright law. And so I could copy that dress, and machines can make slight alterations of that print just so that it would skate under the radar for copyright law while still providing a similar design that the customer might not know the difference. And so, you know, when I see stuff like that, that is designerless fashion. And that's use of technology the wrong way in our view.
But is that going to become mainstream now that it's out there?
It's out there. It's out there. So
is that what Zara embraces?
Zara embraces it. Amazon embraces it. It is the copycat machinery that is defined by designerless fashion. We are putting a stake in the ground saying no designerless fashion, or rather, if we think of evil and good in the world, okay, there is evil and it defines good. In our context, good is creation and design. Evil is copy.
Talk about the role of technology and the creation process leveraged by your designers. And can you share a successful launch or a case study of this through one of your designers?
Yeah, so we embraced digital capability. This goes into very complex supply chain stuff, so I'm not gonna do that. But let's just say that, you know, digital printing at an elevated level. These digital printers cost $1 million each. We have 3 of them, and the digital printers allow for what I talked about earlier, clicking my way through design. So if I come up with a new design in the middle of the night, a new red, a new yellow, I can use technology to get 1 yard, 1 shirt, 1 dress of that new design that I had in my head last night. I can have it made. So the deployment of digital technology has been really, really important, because what it does is it extends the raw material position that designers have at their disposal. What happens with designers is they come up with a color or a print, and they have to order hundreds or sometimes thousands of yards in that color or print. But they don't know if it's a good color or a good print. And so they're really cautious about making that design leap to order the fabric. Digital printing gets rid of all of that. It says you can color it close to when you want to convert it into a product, and you can make it any color you want in any quantity you want. That's really, really powerful. And so that use of technology on our platform and others that involve silhouette creation, new body creation, that allows designers to test and create new bodies without having to go through extensive pattern making and grading and marking and all these technical steps that define how products are made. So in 2 areas, we are driving the cost of creation down. One is through digital printing, and the other is through automated pattern making, which is style creation. The combination of those 2 allow designers to create more styles than one could ever imagine, and do so at very low cost of style creation.
So what makes your production process of the garments unique from the competition?
Digital printing allows for making units of one possible. And if you were to talk to any manufacturing platform, if you were to talk to Zara about making one at a time, they would think you're insane. In our world, we're architecting the business so that you can actually make one garment at a time as efficiently as many. And part of it has to do with managing fabrics so that you're within a stable of fabrics that have already been extensively developed by chemistry and composition. You're working with digital printing capabilities so that you can color as little as a yard at a time. And you're working with automated pattern creation. These concepts all empower creating one at a time as efficiently as 1,000. There are no minimums. You don't have any inventory lock, so I don't have to buy 1,000 yards of a red print. I just have white print. I just have white fabric that can become red, yellow, blue, green in any quantity that I want at any time that I want. So that is kind of unheard of for an elevated manufacturing platform, and Resonance has this in-house and makes it available to its designers. Competition, try to catch up to that. It's really tough.
Are you leveraging 3D printing, AI, or augmented reality in your creative or production processes?
So we have installed right now digital printing For certain trim capability, we have 3D printing. So we're creating embellishment and trim items that are 3D printed, which again is a digital format. Probably where we are spending most of our time right now is on machine learning, unsupervised machine learning. So on platform, we talked about being a full stack operator. On platform, we have all of this behavior where people are clicking their way through requests. Also customer behavior, clicking their way through requests. And we have robots that are looking at all of this behavior and making modifications on platform real time to improve how decisions are made. Perfect example is we had the robots start buying new product about 3.5 months ago. So on Resonance platform, when sales of a certain print start to move, robots say, let me go buy a few more extra larges, or let me go buy size 4. And all of a sudden the product shows up and we're like, who bought that?
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's scary. But what's great is instead of having an inventory planner sit there and try to figure out how many more blue dresses we should buy, they're doing something to support design and creation. So we don't want to have humans spend their time on low value tasks like, should I order 3 more dresses? Let a robot figure that out. Because yes, you should order 3 more dresses because there are 3 more customers who want that dress and this is the size in which they need it. So let's have it just automatically made. And so you have machines right now on the platform that are ordering products and those products are automatically being queued to the system and they actually make it to a warehouse and they go out to customers without a human touching it. It's incredible. And we're going to be doing a lot more of that going forward.
With consumers demanding fast fashion, do you think the runways of Fashion Week will become obsolete or irrelevant in the not so distant future?
I love Runway. It's so much fun, and so I don't think Runway goes away. We're still going to have Paris, Milan. We're still going to have, London. We're going to have New York Fashion Week. But I think we're just going to have, more, and they're going to be smaller. And so I don't necessarily think it's going to go away. We're just going to see more venues, and we're going to see those venues happening throughout the year at different times. It will not be so programmed. It will be somewhat decentralized. Now, will they become less important because of that? They might become less important as single events, but they may become more important to small groups of people. And I don't think necessarily that's a bad thing. However, being a New Yorker, I love those 2 times a year that we have, our city overtaken by fashion. So I'd like to not see that go away. But I think it's going to change. I think it's going to change over time, and we will have many smaller venues throughout the year, throughout the world.
What do you predict will be the next big disruptor in the fashion industry, and are you working on any ways to leverage it if you are foreseeing something down the pike?
We're doing it. The big disruption is how do we support creator-driven brands in a world where copying and designerless fashion dominates. And the big disruption is going to be the creation matters, that design matters, and that the people and the humans that deliver the magic matter. And I think that is an incredibly disruptive concept, properly supported with tons of technology. And that will be the disruption for the next 5 years.
And do you think creativity will ever be fully taken over by robotics?
No. So what's great about robots and what's great about machine learning is they free up creativity. I don't think robots are going to make me cry. I don't think they're going to make you laugh. Humans will. And so I don't think the emotional content of beauty and design goes away. In fact, I think it's freed up because we're not spending time making the donuts. We're spending time creating beautiful things. Let the machines do the easy stuff, like ordering 3 more dresses because they're selling really well. Let's do the magical stuff of creation and supporting creation.
What are the goals for Resonance in 2018? Do you have any big things in mind?
This is a scale year for us. We have right now 120 employees, and we are moving to 12 brands on platform, and that's a very full plate. And what we're doing is we're refining our processes, and we are getting better and better every week on driving down the cost to create product and being able to share that with more and more designers is our goal for this year. When we bring 12 brands on platform, those 12 brands are deliberately very different and they have very different needs. They also represent cross-cut of the different types of companies that are in the marketplace, which means that we're able to bring in 2019 30 brands on platform. We will have debugged everything with the 12, and they're very different. They go from children's wear to men's wear to women's wear, and all of that is deliberate because they behave very differently. And we want that behavior in our court so we can observe it and design systems that support a broad array of how creators operate.
Joe Ferrara, thank you so much for talking with us today about fashion.
You're welcome. Enjoyed being here.
And that's it for this edition of Sarder TV. We hope you enjoyed and learned something new today. Until next time, I'm Tracy Fitzpatrick. Thanks for watching.